A modern skyscraper dwarfs our city landscapes. Now picture a pyramid built 4,500 years ago. Our ancestors raised colossal structures that still baffle us today. They did it without cranes, computers, or concrete. How was this even possible? This journey explores 30 of the world's most mysterious ancient megastructures. You will discover the forgotten techniques and incredible secrets behind their creation. We will uncover how stones weighing 1,000 tons were moved into place and how entire cities were carved from mountaintops. What do these silent stone giants tell you about the limitless potential of human ingenuity? Its sheer scale defies belief. The Great Pyramid of Giza originally stood at 481 feet tall, a perfect pyramidion of polished white limestone casing stones gleaming under the Egyptian sun. Every single one of those outer stones was cut with such precision that you could not slide a credit card between them. This immense structure, built from over 2,300,000 individual blocks, each weighing an average of 2.5 tons, is aligned to true north with an accuracy within 1/15th of a single degree. How did a civilization with no magnetic compasses, no advanced mathematics as we know them, achieve such a feat? The logistics are a puzzle that has consumed historians and engineers for centuries. Just quarrying that much stone was a monumental task. Workers used simple copper chisels and stone hammers, tools that seem laughably inadequate for shaping the granite and limestone heart of the pyramid. Then came the transportation. How do you move a 2.5-ton block of stone? Theories suggest they were placed on wooden sleds and dragged along paths lubricated with water to reduce friction, pulled by thousands of laborers. But moving them is one thing, lifting them is another. The most popular theory involves massive, straight ramps built against the pyramid's side, growing with it. Yet the volume of such a ramp would have rivaled the pyramid itself. Another compelling idea proposes an internal spiraling ramp, a corkscrew tunnel within the growing structure, allowing blocks to be dragged upward from within. This would explain the absence of evidence for colossal external ramps. Consider the human element. This was not the work of slaves, as once thought, but likely a rotating workforce of skilled laborers who were housed, fed, and respected. Organizing this effort, ensuring a constant supply of materials, food, and water for a crew that may have numbered in the tens of thousands, was a managerial nightmare executed with flawless precision. They did it all with copper tools, rope, wooden sleds, and an astonishingly sophisticated understanding of leverage and geometry. The Great Pyramid is not just a tomb, it is a silent testament to what human cooperation and ingenuity can accomplish, a mystery carved in stone that continues to challenge our modern assumptions. That same mastery of stone appears again, but in a completely different form, on the windswept Salisbury Plain in England. Stonehenge stands as a ring of silent, weathered giants, a monument whose construction spanned over 1,500 years. Its largest sarsen stones tower over 20 feet high and weigh up to 50 tons, a colossal burden dragged from quarries over 20 miles to the north. Imagine the sheer will required to move these megaliths. Workers likely used a combination of wooden sledges, greased with animal fat, and rollers made from felled tree trunks, inching each stone forward along a prepared trackway. Teams of hundreds would have hauled on ropes made from plant fibers, their coordinated efforts a symphony of human strength against immovable rock. Yet the Sarsens are not even the most mysterious part of this story. Nestled within the grand circle of grey Sarsens are the smaller, distinctive bluestones. These stones, each weighing up to 4 tons, tell a far more incredible tale. Their geological origin lies in the Preseli Hills of Wales, a staggering distance of over 150 miles away. How did a Neolithic society, without the wheel or draft animals, transport 80 of these stones across such a vast and rugged landscape? Perhaps they were moved on rafts along rivers and coastlines, a perilous sea voyage around the Welsh coast and up the River Avon. Or maybe they were dragged the entire way on a great overland route, a generations-long pilgrimage of stone. The purpose of this immense undertaking remains one of archaeology's greatest debates. Was Stonehenge a prehistoric astronomical observatory, its pillars perfectly aligned with the solstice sunrises and sunsets? Or was it a sacred burial ground, a place of healing and powerful ritual where the bluestones themselves were believed to possess magical properties? The truth likely intertwines all these ideas. More than anything, Stonehenge is a testament to communal effort, a project so vast it required the cooperation of countless people across many generations, all united by a shared vision we can only try to decipher from the silent stones they left behind. Across the vast Pacific Ocean, on the most isolated inhabited island on Earth, another stone mystery stands guard. Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, is home to nearly 900 massive stone figures known as the Moai. These brooding giants are not merely heads as they often appear. Most of them have complete bodies buried up to their shoulders in the earth, with intricate carvings on their torsos waiting to be fully unearthed. The average Moai stands 13 feet tall and weighs a staggering 14 tons, with some colossal examples reaching over 30 tons. How did a small, isolated society, with no metal tools and no large trees, move these monoliths from the quarry to their coastal platforms, sometimes over 10 miles of rugged terrain? The answer may be found in a rhythmic, almost living motion. The prevailing theory, supported by successful modern experiments, suggests the islanders literally walked the statues into place. By carefully tying ropes around the statue's head and base, teams could rock the Moai forward, side to side, in a controlled shuffle. With each coordinated pull, the giant would pivot on its curved base, inching its way across the landscape. Picture this process, a slow, deliberate dance between humans and stone, a testament to incredible teamwork and an intuitive understanding of physics. This walking method would have been a spectacle of sound and movement, a communal effort that transformed the island. Yet this incredible achievement may have come at a devastating cost. The very act of creating and transporting the Moai required enormous resources, especially the felling of countless large palm trees for rollers and ropes. This widespread deforestation is believed to have triggered severe soil erosion, leading to agricultural collapse and widespread famine. The society that had the ingenuity to walk giants eventually fractured, descending into conflict over the island's dwindling resources. The Moai themselves were toppled in this turmoil, leaving the silent, fallen sentinels we see today. They stand, or rather lie, as a powerful and somber monument to both human brilliance and the profound consequences of an unchecked drive for monumental creation. High on a razor-backed mountain ridge shrouded in mist, the Inca city of Machu Picchu clings to the clouds. This is not a structure carved into the landscape, but one woven from it. While the Egyptians mastered the movement of colossal blocks, the Inca achieved something equally profound, a perfect marriage of architecture and geology. Their secret was a building technique so precise it defies logic to this day. They practiced dry stone construction, fitting immense blocks of granite together without any mortar. The joints between these stones are cut with such breathtaking accuracy that you cannot slip a knife blade between them. This was not just for aesthetic beauty, it was a matter of survival. Peru is a land of earthquakes, and the Inca knew that rigid structures would shatter. Their interlocking, mortarless walls are designed to dance, to shift and settle during tremors before locking perfectly back into place. They built flexibility into stone. To create a flat foundation for this mountaintop city, the Inca first had to reshape the mountain itself. They constructed a complex system of terraces that cascade down the steep slopes. These were not simple garden beds, they were sophisticated agricultural engines. Their layered construction included stone retaining walls, a base of crushed rock for drainage, a layer of gravel, sand, and finally rich topsoil. This prevented erosion and allowed for the cultivation of corn, potatoes, and other crops to sustain a population of up to 1,000 people. Even the water was masterfully engineered. A natural spring on the north slope was channeled into a series of 16 fountains, connected by stone canals that still function today. The water flows by gravity through the city, supplying each sector before being efficiently drained away, preventing saturation and landslides on the precarious slopes. How did they achieve all of this without iron tools, without the wheel? The granite was quarried right from the mountain, split using natural fissures and by driving wooden wedges into cracks, then swelling the wood with water. They shaped these rough blocks by pounding them with harder stones, using abrasive sand and water to grind the surfaces to a smooth, perfect finish. Every stone was uniquely shaped, a single piece in a vast three-dimensional puzzle. Machu Picchu is a testament to a different kind of genius, one that did not seek to conquer nature, but to collaborate with it, building a city in the sky that has withstood the centuries not by brute force, but by perfect, harmonious design. From the harmonious stonework of the Andes, the ancient world's ambition turns to the roaring heart of Rome. The Colosseum was not just an amphitheater, it was a machine for mass spectacle, an architectural beast capable of holding over 50,000 spectators. Its skeleton was built from travertine limestone, a material both strong and beautiful, but its true genius lay in the revolutionary use of Roman concrete. This was no ordinary mixture, it was a recipe of lime, volcanic ash, and rubble that could set even underwater, creating a material that gave the Romans the power to shape the sky. With it, they engineered a forest of vaulted arches. These arches were the key to everything, a brilliant geometric form that distributed the immense weight of the structure outwards and down, allowing for soaring heights and eliminating the need for dense, suffocating walls. This lattice of stone and concrete created the Colosseum's iconic, muscular facade, and within, a labyrinth of passages, stairways, and ramps that could funnel the entire massive crowd in and out in a matter of minutes. But the true engineering marvel lay beneath the sand-covered wooden floor. This was the hypogeum, a dark, two-level underground world of tunnels and chambers. Here, gladiators and wild animals waited in holding pens before being thrust into the arena above. The Romans did not rely on magic. They built a system of primitive but effective elevators and trapdoors. Using massive capstans, ropes, and counterweights powered by teams of men, they could hoist cages containing lions, bears, or even scenic props directly from the darkness into the blinding light of the arena, creating sudden, dramatic reveals that stunned the audience. This colossal project was brought to life by an army of laborers, a mix of highly skilled Roman engineers and a vast workforce of Jewish slaves captured after the siege of Jerusalem. They moved these staggering weights with an array of pulleys, winches, and human-powered cranes, creating a symphony of coordinated effort that resulted in a building so resilient its bones still define the Roman skyline nearly 2,000 years later. Yet even the grand ambitions of Rome pale before a structure so vast it can be seen from space. The Great Wall of China is not a single wall, but a sprawling network of fortifications, a serpentine megastructure that snakes across mountains and deserts for over 13,000 miles. Its construction was not the work of a single era, but a project that spanned centuries, with the most famous sections built by the Qin and Ming dynasties. The first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, is credited with linking earlier state walls into one continuous system, a monumental effort to defend his new empire. But the stone and brick walls we recognize today are largely the legacy of the Ming dynasty, who undertook the most extensive rebuilding campaign in history. Moving materials across such treacherous, mountainous terrain was a logistical nightmare. In the flat plains, workers relied on tamped earth, a technique where soil was mixed with gravel and other binders, then compressed layer by layer into a solid, durable rampart. But in the rugged highlands, they needed stone and brick. How do you transport millions of tons of these materials up near vertical slopes? There were no trucks or cranes. The answer was a river of human labor. Workers used the simplest of tools, baskets, handcarts, and wooden levers, forming human chains that passed bricks hand over hand up the mountainsides. Some bricks were even transported by teams of goats with baskets strapped to their backs. Once in place, the bricks were set using a mortar made from sticky rice flour, a revolutionary mixture that provided a bond so strong it has survived for hundreds of years. The wall was more than a simple barrier, it was a sophisticated military highway. Watchtowers were spaced at regular intervals, close enough to communicate using smoke signals or flags. These towers served as garrison stations, storage depots, and elevated lookout points, allowing for the rapid relay of messages across vast distances. But this incredible achievement came at an almost unimaginable human cost. It is estimated that over 1 million workers lost their lives during the centuries of construction, from accidents, exhaustion, and starvation. Many were conscripted peasants and soldiers, and it is said that for every stone laid, a life was lost, earning the wall its somber nickname as the longest cemetery on Earth. This colossal undertaking stands as a stark duality, a testament to both imperial power and profound human suffering, a wall built by countless hands to protect a civilization from the world outside. Deep within a narrow desert canyon in Jordan, a city of impossible beauty was not built but revealed. This is Petra, the capital of the Nabatean kingdom, where master builders carved palaces, temples, and tombs directly from the living rock. They did not stack stone upon stone, they performed a kind of architectural subtraction, starting at the top of a cliff face and carving their way down. To create the iconic treasury with its towering 40-meter-high facade, workers would first have scaled the sandstone to carve out a detailed blueprint from the top downward. They used iron chisels, hammers, and possibly abrasive sand to wear away the rock, all while suspended on precarious wooden scaffolding. Every column, statue, and urn was shaped in perfect proportion as they descended, removing millions of tons of rock chip by chip to expose the grand structure hidden within the mountain. This top-down method was incredibly risky. A single miscalculation could ruin the entire facade, but it allowed for unparalleled precision and a dramatic, theatrical reveal for those approaching through the narrow, winding canyon known as the Sick. Yet this stone city could never have thrived in such an arid environment without another, equally brilliant feat of engineering. The Nabateans were masters of water in a land that offered almost none. They transformed their desert home by constructing an intricate network of dams, cisterns, and channels that captured every precious drop of winter rainfall. They carved gutters along the canyon walls to divert flash floods, built massive underground reservoirs to store water, and lined channels with a special waterproof cement to prevent seepage. This system was so effective it supplied running water to homes and lush gardens, supporting a population of thousands in the heart of the desert. Petra stands as a dual monument, a city born from both the removal of mountains and the clever, life-giving capture of water, proving that ancient ingenuity could make the most forbidding landscapes flourish. The silent, carved majesty of Petra gives way to another enigma, a city of pyramids lying just outside modern-day Mexico City. Teotihuacan was once the largest city in the pre-Columbian Americas, a sprawling metropolis that housed over 100,000 people, yet we do not even know the name of the civilization that built it. They vanished long before the Aztecs arrived, who gave the city its current name, meaning the place where men become gods. At its heart stretches the Avenue of the Dead, a central thoroughfare nearly 2.5 miles long, flanked by the ruins of massive temples and residential compounds. This was not a haphazard settlement, it was a meticulously planned urban grid, a feat of civic engineering laid out with a precision that rivals modern city planning. Dominating the skyline is the colossal Pyramid of the Sun. This is not a pyramid of solid stone, but a mind-boggling feat of earth and the Chinese letter. Its core is a small, natural hill, which the builders ingeniously used as a foundation. They then enveloped this hill with hundreds of thousands of tons of sun-dried mud, brick and rubble, layer upon layer, creating an artificial mountain. The entire structure was then faced with a skin of stone, coated in brightly colored stucco that would have gleamed brilliantly under the Mesoamerican sun. Moving this immense volume of material was a task of almost unimaginable scale. Without the wheel, without pack animals like horses or oxen, and without metal tools to cut stone efficiently, every single load of earth, brick and stone was carried on human backs. Vast teams of laborers, likely organized through a system of communal labor or tribute, would have moved in endless processions, filling baskets and hauling them up growing earthen ramps to build the pyramid tier by tier. The result is a structure with a base almost as wide as that of the Great Pyramid of Giza. But the genius of Teotihuacan extends beyond mere mass. The entire city is an astronomical masterpiece. The Pyramid of the Sun is precisely aligned so that its western facade directly faces the setting sun on specific dates, and the Avenue of the Dead itself is oriented just 15.5 degrees east of true north. This is not a random error, it is a deliberate alignment with the sacred mountain of Cerro Gordo on the northern horizon, and it also corresponds with key celestial events. How did an unknown people, using only simple tools and human labor, achieve such a perfect, grand-scale urban and cosmic design? They left no written records to explain their methods or their beliefs, only the silent, overwhelming geometry of their ambition, a city built to mirror the heavens themselves. High on the Athenian Acropolis, the Parthenon presents an illusion of perfect, rigid geometry. Yet its true genius lies in a series of deliberate imperfections, a secret known only to its creators. Every line that appears straight is actually a subtle curve. The massive platform on which it stands bows upward in the center, and the columns themselves lean ever so slightly inward. If these lines were truly straight, the human eye would perceive them as sagging. The builders introduced these gentle curves and inclines to counteract this optical illusion, creating a structure that feels vibrantly alive and perfectly balanced. Even the columns are not uniform cylinders, they swell gently in the middle, a technique known as intosses, giving them a muscular, organic quality that prevents them from looking spindly against the sky. This was not guesswork, it was a masterful application of advanced geometry and a deep understanding of human perception. Creating this marble poem required a Herculean effort, beginning in the quarries of Mount Pentelicon over 10 miles away. Workers would carefully separate blocks of pristine white marble by drilling a line of holes, inserting wooden wedges, and then soaking the wood with water. As the wedges expanded, they would create a clean fracture along the desired line. Each multi-ton block was then loaded onto a wooden sled and dragged by oxen and teams of men down to the coast, placed on a barge and shipped to the foot of the Acropolis. There, the most grueling part began, hauling them up the steep slope using a system of ramps, winches, and pure human endurance. Once in place, the marble blocks were locked together with an ingenious system of metal connectors. Iron clamps shaped like double-headed axes were set in lead pouches to prevent rust and fasten the blocks horizontally. Vertical columns were joined with bronze dowels, pins that were poured molten into pre-drilled holes, creating a solid metal lock as they cooled. The entire structure was a massive, interlocking stone puzzle, but the artistry did not stop with the architecture. The frieze that ran around the inner temple was a continuous marble tapestry, carved in place with scenes of a sacred procession. Sculptors used simple chisels, drills, and abrasive powders to bring horses, chariots, and citizens to life in stunning high relief, all while working high on scaffolding. The metopes, the square panels on the outer colonnade, depicted epic battles between gods and giants, each one a masterpiece of dynamic composition carved with nothing but hand tools. The Parthenon stands as a testament to a civilization that sought not just to build, but to perfect, proving that true beauty lies in the intelligent deception of the eye and the relentless pursuit of harmony. The pursuit of perfection in geometry and astronomy found another breathtaking expression far across the Atlantic, in the heart of the Yucatan Peninsula. Chichen Itza stands as a crowning jewel of Mayan civilization, and at its center towers El Castillo, a pyramid that is both a temple and a colossal celestial calendar. This is not merely a stack of stones pointing to the sky. It is a physical embodiment of the Mayan understanding of time itself. The pyramid is precisely oriented so that during the spring and fall equinoxes, the setting sun casts a shadow along its northern staircase. This interplay of light and shadow creates the undulating body of a serpent, which appears to slither down from the temple at the summit to join with a giant stone serpent head carved at the base of the stairway. This phenomenon, representing the feathered serpent god Kukulkan, was a public spectacle of divine power and astronomical precision, achieved without telescopes or written mathematical formulas as we know them. The entire structure is a monument to numbers. Its 4 sides each have 91 steps, which, combined with the shared platform at the top, equals the 365 days of the solar year. Every facet of its design was intentional and deeply symbolic. To build this limestone marvel, workers quarried the stone locally using harder stone hammers and chisels. They shaped each block with nothing more than these simple tools and immense patience, then hauled them into position using human labor and earthen ramps. The entire city reveals a master plan of advanced urban design. Just north of El Castillo lies the Great Ball Court, the largest and most impressive of its kind in all of Mesoamerica. Its towering parallel walls are so acoustically perfect that a whisper spoken at one end can be clearly heard at the other, over 500 feet away. The games played here were far more than sport. They were deeply ritualistic events often tied to cosmological beliefs, with outcomes that held profound significance. Nearby, the Temple of the Warriors presents a forest of carved columns, each one depicting a warrior leading to a temple atop a stepped pyramid. This complex, with its adjacent market and observatory, reveals a society that seamlessly integrated its spiritual life, its scientific knowledge, and its civic organization into a single, harmonious stone city. Chichen Itza was a living machine, engineered not just for its people, but for the gods and the cosmos they so meticulously observed. The precision of Mayan astronomy finds a different kind of genius in the relentless flow of water. While empires built monuments to gods and kings, the Romans engineered the very lifeblood of civilization itself. Their aqueducts were not single structures, but vast, sinuous networks of channels, tunnels, and bridges stretching for hundreds of miles, all designed to conquer a single, invisible enemy, gravity. The Pont du Gard in southern France is a breathtaking example, a 3-tiered arcade of golden limestone that carries a water channel high above a river valley. Its true marvel lies in a slope so gentle it is almost imperceptible. From its source to the end of the line, the aqueduct dropped only 40 feet over a distance of 31 miles. That is a gradient of just 1 in 3,000, a fall of less than a single inch every 100 yards. Achieving this required an almost supernatural level of surveying skill. Roman engineers used an instrument called a chorobates, a long water level on legs, to trace this perfect descending path across hills, through mountains and over valleys. They would rather tunnel through a mountain for miles than deviate from that crucial, life-giving slope. The Pont du Gard itself was built without any mortar. Its massive stones, some weighing over 6 tons, were cut with such precision that they locked together by friction and gravity alone. Masons carved protruding bosses on the stones, handles used only during construction. Workers would haul them into place with cranes and winches, resting them on a massive wooden support scaffold that was a temporary engineering feat in itself. Once the final keystone was dropped into the crown of each arch, the entire structure became self-supporting and the wooden skeleton could be removed. But for the sections that had to run below ground or through water, the Romans possessed a secret weapon, a magical powder known as pozzolana ash. This volcanic dust, when mixed with lime and rubble, created a concrete that could not only set underwater but actually grew stronger over time as seawater reacted with the mixture, forming crystals that locked the components into an eternal bond. This allowed them to build harbors, breakwaters, and submerged foundations that have survived for 2 millennia. The aqueducts were the hidden circulatory system of the Roman world, a testament to an empire that understood that true power was not just in dominating people, but in mastering the fundamental elements of life. The ambition of Roman engineering now finds a spiritual echo in the jungles of Cambodia. Angkor Wat is not merely a temple, it is a city of the gods and the largest religious monument ever constructed. Enclosed by a massive moat over 3 miles long, this vast complex is a microcosm of the Hindu universe, with its central towers representing the mythical Mount Meru. To build this vision in stone, workers quarried millions of sandstone blocks from Mount Kulin, a site located over 25 miles to the northeast. Transporting this colossal volume of stone would have been an insurmountable task overland. Instead, the Khmer engineers turned to water. They likely floated the heavy blocks on barges down a sophisticated network of canals, using the region's seasonal floods to their advantage. This aquatic highway delivered the very bones of the temple directly to the construction site. Once there, the stones were shaped and set without any mortar, relying on precise carving and gravity to hold the structure together for centuries. But the true wonder of Angkor Wat is etched into its very walls. Galleries stretch for nearly half a mile, their sandstone surfaces transformed into a stone canvas of breathtaking bas-reliefs. These carvings depict intricate scenes from Hindu epics like the Ramayana and the Mahabharata, showing armies of gods and demons locked in eternal battle, celestial dances, and vast processions. Each panel is a masterpiece of narrative art, carved with such detail that every figure seems alive, a testament to the skill of artisans who worked with little more than chisels and hammers. To create this sacred landscape required a workforce of staggering size. Tens of thousands of laborers, artisans, and artists were mobilized under the command of King Suryavarman II. This was not a project of slaves, but a vast, organized effort likely drawn from across the empire, including skilled masons, sculptors, and a legion of workers to manage the quarries, operate the barges, and prepare the site. Coordinating this human river, ensuring a constant supply of food, tools, and materials in the middle of a jungle, was a logistical triumph that rivaled the architectural one. Angkor Wat stands as a monument to a king's devotion and a civilization's ability to harness its entire population in the service of a single, divine idea, a city temple that continues to whisper its secrets from the heart of the forest. The same divine impulse that built Angkor Wat echoed millennia earlier in the sun-baked plains of Mesopotamia. Here, in the ancient city of Ur, the Sumerians raised a stairway to the gods. The great ziggurat of Ur was not a tomb for a king, but a home for a deity, a colossal stepped pyramid dedicated to Nana, the all-powerful moon god. Its core was a mountain of sun-dried mud brick, a material born from the very earth of the river valley. But mud brick dissolves in the rain, so the Sumerians engineered a defense. As they piled the bricks high, they inserted horizontal layers of woven reed matting into the structure. These reeds acted like a skeleton, providing tensile strength and helping to distribute the immense weight, preventing the entire mass from slumping under its own pressure. The final touch was a protective skin, a 3-meter-thick facade of kiln-fired bricks, baked to a hard, waterproof finish, set in a bed of bitumen, a natural tar that served as a powerful ancient mortar. This was not just a pile of bricks, it was a sophisticated, layered system designed for eternity. The ziggurate's form was a deliberate architectural metaphor. Its three massive tiers, connected by grand staircases, were a physical bridge, a cosmic axis linking the earthly realm with the heavenly domain of the gods. At the summit, far above the city, stood a sacred shrine where only the high priests could enter to commune with Nana. This was the focal point of the entire city, a constant, towering reminder of the deity's presence and power. The base of the ziggurat was not an empty plaza, but a bustling religious complex of courtyards, storehouses, and workshops for priests, all enclosed within a protective wall. Building this sacred mountain required the coordinated labor of thousands of Sumerian workers. They had no pulleys, no wheeled carts, no metal tools beyond simple copper chisels. Every one of the millions of mud bricks was mixed from soil and water, shaped in wooden molds and dried in the sun. The heavier baked bricks required the constant hot fire of kilns, consuming vast quantities of fuel. Workers carried these bricks up growing earthen ramps in baskets on their heads, their progress a slow, steady human conveyor belt building heavenward. The ziggurat was the spiritual and physical heart of the city, a testament to a society that poured its collective faith and labor into a single, soaring structure meant to touch the sky. The ambition of Sumer's ziggurat finds its ultimate evolution in a sprawling stone forest on the banks of the Nile. The temples of Karnak are not a single monument, but a living architectural chronicle, a complex that grew and transformed for more than 2,000 years. Each pharaoh sought to leave his mark, adding new pylons, courtyards, and shrines, creating a vast, open-air museum of divine ambition. Its most breathtaking space is the hypostyle hall, a chamber so immense it could swallow Notre Dame Cathedral whole. Stepping inside is like entering a petrified forest with 134 colossal columns rising into the shadows. The largest of these pillars stand 70 feet tall and are so wide that it would take 6 adults with arms outstretched to encircle one. How do you lift a 70-ton stone drum to such a height without a crane? The answer was written in the very earth beneath their feet. Workers constructed massive ramps of mud brick and rubble, sloping gently against the rising column. They would drag each massive stone drum up this temporary mountain, set it precisely in place, and then build the ramp even higher for the next segment. Once the column was complete, the ramp was dismantled, its material reused, leaving no trace of the monumental effort. But the true test of Egyptian engineering was not just raising columns, it was raising needles to the sky. Towering obelisks, each carved from a single, flawless piece of red granite, were the ultimate symbols of pharaonic power. Quarrying one was an act of faith and precision. In the distant quarries of Aswan, workers would first locate a perfect vein of stone. Using balls of dolerite, a rock harder than granite, they would pound out a trench around the proposed obelisk, sometimes reaching depths of 10 feet, all to free a single 7-story tall stone weighing over 300 tons. The slightest miscalculation could cause the monolith to fracture, wasting years of labor. Once freed, the journey had only just begun. The obelisk was carefully dragged to the Nile and loaded onto a specially built colossal barge. This vessel was a floating engineering marvel in itself, designed to be stable enough to carry a weight equivalent to 250 cars. It was then towed down the river by a fleet of some 30 boats and thousands of men, a slow, ceremonial procession honoring the stone needle. Upon arrival at Karnak, the most delicate operation began, raising the obelisk from its horizontal repose to a vertical salute to the sun god. The Egyptians likely dug a ramp leading to a sand-filled trench. The obelisk was slid into this trench, its base positioned over the foundation stone. Then, with agonizing slowness, the sand was drained from a hole at the bottom of the trench. As the sand level dropped, the obelisk would pivot on its base, sinking downward until it stood perfectly upright, a feat of counterintuitive genius that turned gravity itself into a tool. Every column and every obelisk at Karnak stands as a testament to a civilization that thought not in years, but in millennia, each generation adding its own chapter to an endless stone conversation with the gods. From the towering stone forests of Karnak, we descend to the stark, flat canvas of the Peruvian desert. The Nazca lines are a different kind of megastructure entirely, one of vast scale and impossible perspective. These are not monuments built upward, but images drawn on the earth itself, a sprawling gallery of geometric shapes, spirals, and giant animals, including a hummingbird, a spider, and a monkey with a tail curled into a perfect spiral. The method of creation was deceptively simple. The Nazca people did not pile stones, they removed them. The desert floor here is covered with a layer of dark, iron oxide-coated pebbles. Beneath this lies a bed of much lighter-colored sand. To create a line, workers would simply clear away the dark surface stones, exposing the bright subsoil in sharp contrast. The lines are not shallow scratches, but trenches up to a foot deep, their edges defined by small berms of the discarded dark stones. This technique created a durable design, as the removed pebbles prevent new ones from rolling in, and the arid climate preserves the work for centuries. The real mystery is not the how, but the why. What was the purpose of these colossal drawings, so immense they can only be truly appreciated from hundreds of feet in the air? One compelling theory suggests they were a giant astronomical calendar. Certain lines may have pointed to the rising or setting sun on the solstices, while other shapes might have corresponded with constellations important to the Nazca. Another idea proposes they were sacred pathways, walked during religious rituals to invoke water from the gods in this desperately dry landscape. Some of the animal figures are associated with water in Andean mythology, and the act of walking the lines could have been a form of prayer for life-giving rain. But the most tantalizing question remains: how did the Nazca design and execute such precise, massive images without ever seeing their work from above? The answer lies in a mastery of basic surveying techniques. They could have used a series of stakes and ropes to plot out the designs at a small scale, then scaled them up proportionally across the desert floor. By creating a central axis and working in sections, a team of people guided by a master designer could have created a straight line miles long or a perfect curve, using nothing more than sight lines and simple mathematics. They understood perspective from the ground, constructing the designs to be viewed from nearby hillsides, perhaps as part of ceremonial processions. The Nazca lines are a testament to a different kind of genius, one that transformed an entire desert plateau into a sacred map, a ritual space, and an enduring enigma written on the skin of the earth. These colossal temples on the island of Gozo stand as the world's oldest freestanding stone structures, raised a full 1,000 years before the Great Pyramid of Giza was even a concept. The Jiwith dot above Gantaja temples are a complex of two sprawling structures, their very name meaning belonging to the giants, a local legend born from the sheer impossibility of their construction. The walls are built from enormous blocks of coralline limestone, some stretching over 16 feet long and weighing more than 50 tons. To stand before them is to feel a profound sense of ancient raw power. The mystery deepens when you consider the tools available to these Neolithic builders, a society that possessed only stone, wood, and brittle volcanic glass known as obsidian. How could they possibly quarry, transport, and lift such monstrous slabs? The quarries were located only a short distance away, but moving a 50-ton block of stone without wheels or metal tools remains a staggering puzzle. The most likely method involved a combination of ingenuity and immense manpower. Workers may have used round stone balls as primitive rollers, levering the blocks onto a track of logs and slowly, painstakingly inching them forward with ropes made from plant fibers pulled by scores of people. Once on site, the challenge of erection began. How did they raise these megaliths into vertical walls? They probably dug trenches, slid the stones into place at an angle, and then used levers and a system of ropes and counterweights to pull them upright, a precarious operation requiring perfect coordination. But the architectural genius does not stop at the walls. Inside, the builders created enclosed, roofed spaces using a technique called corbelling. They would lay each successive course of stone slightly inward from the one below, gradually narrowing the gap until the walls met at the top, forming a primitive but stable dome. This created sheltered chambers, perhaps for rituals or gatherings, all achieved without a single arch or beam. The effort required to build above Gantaja was not a one-time event. It was a sustained, communal project that must have defined generations. The temples themselves are arranged in a distinctive cloverleaf pattern of semicircular chambers, suggesting a sophisticated, pre-planned design for a society we know almost nothing about. They left no written records, only these silent, monumental ruins that challenge our understanding of what small, isolated communities were capable of achieving in the deep shadows of prehistory. Buried not in stone but in earth and ambition lies an army meant for eternity. In 1974, farmers digging a well outside the city of Xi'an stumbled upon one of the most astounding archaeological finds in history, the Terracotta Army. This was no mere collection of statues. It was a complete military garrison constructed to guard the tomb of China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, in the afterlife. The scale is almost incomprehensible. 3 vast underground pits contain an estimated 8,000 life-sized soldiers, each one a unique individual with distinct facial features, hairstyles, and armor. They are arranged in precise battle formations, accompanied by hundreds of chariots and war horses, all crafted from fired clay. This was a megastructure of art, a monumental project of logistics and mass production that rivals the construction of the Great Wall. Creating this eternal legion was an industrial operation. The figures were not sculpted one by one in an artist's studio, but manufactured on a colossal assembly line. The bodies, heads, arms, and legs were all created separately using standardized molds. This allowed for incredible efficiency, but the true genius lay in the final assembly. Artisans then combined these prefabricated parts, using soft clay to join them, and most importantly, to hand sculpt the faces. They added details like mustaches, eyebrows, and expressions, ensuring that no 2 soldiers in the entire army were exactly alike. After assembly, the real technical challenge began, firing these colossal clay figures. Each soldier stood nearly 6 feet tall and weighed several hundred pounds. Baking them in a kiln without causing cracks or explosions required masterful control. Potters built enormous, trench-like kilns right near the pits. The figures were carefully stacked and heated gradually to temperatures over 1,000 degrees Celsius. A slow, controlled process that could take weeks for a single firing. The logistical scale of this project is what truly stuns the mind. Historians estimate that 700,000 workers labored for nearly 40 years to complete the entire necropolis, which includes the still unexcavated tomb mound itself. This workforce included not just laborers but master potters, sculptors, and kiln supervisors. Coordinating this army of artisans, managing the supply chains for clay and wood fuel, and maintaining artistic quality across decades was an administrative feat as impressive as the artistic one. The Terracotta Army is more than a collection of sculptures. It is a frozen moment of imperial power, a testament to one man's obsession with immortality and the breathtaking capability of ancient industry to make that obsession a tangible, underground reality. Deep within the Guatemalan rainforest, a lost city of stone giants pierces the jungle canopy. Tikal was the beating heart of the Maya world, a sprawling metropolis where the roars of howler monkeys once mixed with the voices of tens of thousands of people. Its skyline was dominated by immense limestone pyramids, and the greatest of them all, Temple Roman IV, rises like a stairway to the gods. At over 200 feet tall, it remains one of the tallest structures ever built in the ancient Americas. To stand at its base is to feel dwarfed by a sheer wall of stone, a monument that speaks of a civilization with a profound connection to both the earth and the heavens. The Maya built this vertical city using nothing more than stone tools, human muscle, and an intimate knowledge of their environment. They quarried the local limestone using harder stone hammers and chisels, patiently fracturing the bedrock along natural fissures. Each multi-ton block was then hauled from the quarry on log rollers or wooden sledges, pulled by teams of laborers along causeways they had carved through the dense jungle. There were no wheels, no pack animals to ease the burden. Every ounce of momentum came from human strength and coordinated will, but the true alchemy of Mayan construction was fire. They discovered that by burning limestone in massive kilns, they could transform the solid rock into a fine white powder, quicklime. When mixed with water, this powder underwent a chemical reaction, heating up and hardening into a strong, durable plaster. This was their magic ingredient, the key that unlocked their architectural dreams. They used this plaster as mortar to hold the stone blocks together, and even more brilliantly, as a smooth, bright white finish that coated every pyramid and palace. Imagine Tikal in its prime, its temples gleaming like polished bones under the tropical sun, a dazzling white city visible for miles above the green sea of the forest. The scale of this operation is almost beyond comprehension. To build Temple Roman IV, workers had to transport thousands of tons of stone and rubble to form its core, then face it with precisely cut limestone blocks. They constructed massive earthen ramps against the growing pyramid, dragging materials higher and higher until the summit was reached. The entire process was a symphony of organized labor, a society marshalling its entire population to create a physical link between their world and the realm of their gods. These silent stone giants did not simply appear. They were born from fire, sweat, and an unwavering vision that transformed the very substance of the jungle into a testament of human spirit. A different kind of power speaks from a hillside in Greece, where a massive doorway leads deep into the earth. The treasury of Atreus, also called the Tomb of Agamemnon, is not a temple reaching for the sky but a royal tomb built into the hillside, a monument to the might of the Mycenaean kings. Its most breathtaking feature is the tholos, a soaring beehive-shaped chamber constructed around 1250 years before the Common Era. For over a millennium, its dome remained the largest unsupported space in the entire world, a triumph of Bronze Age engineering. Step inside and you stand within a perfect corbelled vault. The builders achieved this not with arches, but by laying each concentric ring of stone blocks slightly inward from the one below. The stones were cut with astonishing precision, their inner faces smoothed and angled perfectly to create that seamless, curving wall that rises to a single capstone. All of this was accomplished without a single drop of mortar holding the stones together. The entire structure relies on gravity and perfect geometry, each block locked in place by the immense weight of the stones above and around it, a self-supporting stone puzzle that has held firm for more than 3,000 years. Yet the true engineering head-scratcher lies at the entrance. The doorway is capped by a single, monstrous lintel stone, a slab of solid limestone measuring 29 feet long, 16.5 feet wide, and weighing an unbelievable 120 tons. How did a civilization with no cranes, no complex pulley systems, and only bronze tools position this colossal weight above the door? The solution was likely a masterpiece of leverage and incremental lifting. Workers probably constructed a massive earthen ramp against the hillside, leading up and over the doorway, using ropes, wooden levers, and perhaps a system of greased logs as rollers. They would have inched the monolith up this slope. Once it was positioned directly above the opening, they could have slowly and carefully dismantled the ramp from beneath it, allowing the lintel to settle perfectly onto its supporting walls, a millimeter at a time. This single stone is a testament to a forgotten understanding of physics, a silent question mark left by the Mycenaeans who combined raw power with breathtaking finesse to create a tomb worthy of a legendary king. While kings built tombs and temples, a different kind of monument was taking shape on a Chinese riverbank, carved not for glory but for peace. The Leshan giant Buddha is the largest stone Buddha in the world, a serene colossus gazing over the turbulent confluence of three rivers. This 233-foot-tall statue was not constructed but revealed, its entire form painstakingly excavated from the face of a sandstone cliff. The project began in the 8th century, not by an emperor's decree, but through the vision of a single monk named Hai Tong. He believed that a divine presence carved into the rock would calm the treacherous waters that routinely capsized boats and drowned fishermen below. For 71 years, through dynastic changes and immense hardship, the work continued, a testament to one man's unwavering faith and the generations of artisans who shared his dream. The sheer scale of the carving is almost beyond comprehension. Workers dangled from ropes on the cliff face, using nothing more than simple chisels and hammers to remove millions of cubic feet of rock. They carved the entire statue, from the gracefully coiled hair to the bare feet resting on the riverbank, in perfect proportion, a feat that required not just artistic skill but a masterful understanding of engineering from the very start. Their genius is most visible in what you cannot easily see. The statue is not a solid block of stone, it is a carefully engineered structure designed to survive the centuries. Hidden within the Buddha's coiled hair, behind the ears, and along the folds of the robes is a sophisticated, secret drainage system. This network of channels and gutters was carved directly into the rock to divert rainwater away from the statue's core. Without this clever system, water would seep into the sandstone, freezing in winter and expanding, causing the stone to crack and crumble over time. This hidden latticework has silently protected the monument for over 1,200 years, allowing it to endure where a less thoughtfully carved statue would have long since eroded away. The Leshan giant Buddha stands as a profound duality, a spiritual act achieved through magnificent engineering, a peaceful giant born from the relentless chip of a hammer against stone, all to tame a river's rage. The serene gaze of the Leshan giant Buddha finds a cosmic echo in the heart of Java. Borobudur is the world's largest Buddhist temple, a stone mountain built as a three-dimensional guide to enlightenment. This is not a building with interior rooms, but a colossal teaching tool you walk, a 10-level journey from the base of desire to the peak of spiritual liberation. Its design is a perfect mandala, a symbolic map of the universe in stone, with 3 tiers representing the realms of desire, form, and formlessness. A pilgrim would start at the massive square base, walking nearly 3 miles of corridors in a ritual clockwise spiral. The walls along this path are a breathtaking stone library, carved with over 2,600 intricate relief panels. These are not mere decorations, they are a visual scripture depicting the life of the Buddha, scenes from ancient India, and the laws of karma, a continuous narrative stretching for miles. As you ascend, the world of form and desire falls away, symbolized by the 3 circular terraces at the top. Here, instead of carved narratives, you find silence and 72 latticed stupas, each one housing a serene statue of the Buddha gazing outward. The entire structure is crowned by one massive, empty central stupa, representing the ultimate state of nirvana, the formless and the void. Building this spiritual atlas required an estimated 2 million blocks of gray andesite, a volcanic stone quarried from local rivers. The true engineering marvel is how these stones are held together. The builders used a complex interlocking system, carving knobs, notches, and grooves into each block so they lock together like a gigantic stone puzzle. This precise joinery, achieved with simple iron chisels and stone hammers, creates a structure flexible enough to withstand the earthquakes common to this volcanic region, all without a single drop of mortar. Yet the greatest mystery of Borobudur is not its construction but its abandonment. Sometime around the 14th century, this magnificent temple was suddenly deserted, slowly buried under layers of volcanic ash and jungle growth. Why would a civilization leave behind such a profound spiritual achievement? Historians point to the decline of Buddhist kingdoms in Java and a massive volcanic eruption that may have depopulated the area, forcing people to flee and leaving the temple to be reclaimed by the earth. For centuries, it slept, a forgotten dream of stone, its existence known only through local legend until its rediscovery in the 19th century. It stands as a monument to a sudden and profound silence, a sacred mountain waiting patiently to be awakened. This hidden world beneath the island of Malta holds a different kind of mystery. The Hal-Saflieni hypogeum is a labyrinth of eternity, an entire sanctuary carved downward into the living rock. Around 2,500 years before the Common Era, while others were raising stones to the sky, these people were engineering a sacred realm in the darkness below. This was not a single chamber, but a sprawling, multi-level complex descending 3 stories into the earth, its halls and passages meticulously designed to mirror the megalithic temples that stood above ground. To walk its depths is to move through a negative image of a temple, with carved stone pillars, arched ceilings, and trilithon doorways, all created by the removal of rock, a breathtaking inversion of the builder's art. The most profound secret of the hypogeum is not its form but its sound. One small, oval chamber, known as the oracle room, possesses an acoustic property that defies simple explanation. A deep male voice, spoken or chanted within this room, resonates through the entire underground complex, the vibrations traveling through the stone with an otherworldly clarity that makes the very walls seem to hum. This was no accident. The chamber was carved and shaped to create this specific effect, a feat of sonic engineering that suggests the builders possessed a sophisticated understanding of sound waves and resonance, using this knowledge to create an immersive, awe-inspiring experience for rituals we can only imagine. Creating this entire subterranean masterpiece was an act of faith and relentless labor. Workers toiled in near-total darkness, their world illuminated only by the flickering light of simple stone oil lamps. Their tools were heartbreakingly basic, fashioned from deer antlers and sharpened stone picks. With these primitive instruments, they had to carve through solid Globigerina limestone, a stone soft enough to work but still immensely challenging. The process was one of subtraction, of patiently, chip by tiny chip, removing an estimated 2,000 tons of rock to create the interconnected chambers and the smooth, finished walls that survive today. This was a slow, deliberate act of creation in the dark, a testament to a belief so powerful it could literally move mountains, one handful of stone dust at a time. High in the Peruvian Andes, the fortress of Ollantaytambo clings to a mountainside like a stone titan. This was not just a military outpost, but a royal estate for the Inca Emperor Pachacuti, a place of both luxurious residence and unyielding defense. Its most awe-inspiring feature is the Temple of the Sun, an unfinished masterpiece where 6 colossal monoliths of rose-red porphyry stand side by side, each one a single stone slab weighing more than 50 tons. They are fitted together with that signature Inca precision, the joints so tight they seem to be one continuous wall of rock. The mystery begins miles away across the roaring Urubamba River. The quarry for these monoliths was located high on a mountain opposite the fortress. How did the Inca move these 100,000-pound stones down a near-vertical mountainside across a turbulent river and then up the steep terraces of Ollantaytambo? The logistics are staggering to contemplate. One prevailing theory involves an elaborate system of massive earthen ramps. Workers would have constructed these sloping causeways from the quarry down to the valley floor. The stones were likely placed on wooden sleds and pulled by thousands of laborers using ropes made from leather and woven plant fibers. To control their descent down the steep slopes, they may have used a series of counterweights and leverage points, inching the monoliths downward with a terrifying, controlled gravity. Crossing the river presents another puzzle. The Inca were master hydraulic engineers, and they may have temporarily diverted the river's flow, creating a dry path for the stones to be dragged across. Another possibility is that they built colossal reed rafts, floating the impossible weight during the dry season when the water was calmer, a daring feat of balance and belief. Once on the Ollantaytambo side, the stones began their final ascent up a series of immense terraces. These were not simple steps, they were a complex loading dock and ramp system in disguise. The stones were pulled up one terrace level at a time, with workers using log levers and rope winches to hoist them from one platform to the next. The entire valley must have echoed with the coordinated chants of teams pulling in unison, a human engine moving mountains. The site's strategic genius was proven during the Spanish conquest, when the rebel Inca leader Manco Inca used Ollantaytambo as a stronghold. From these towering terraces, his warriors rained down arrows, sling stones, and boiling water on the Spanish cavalry, scoring one of the few decisive native victories against the conquistadors. The fortress was a symbol of defiance, its very stones a testament to a culture that could bend nature to its will, yet was ultimately unable to withstand the tide of history. The unfinished Temple of the Sun stands as a frozen moment, a puzzle of colossal stones that asks us how, and a story of resistance that asks us why. Beneath the sun-scorched plains of Cappadocia lies an entire world in reverse, a hidden city carved not upward toward the heavens, but deep into the soft, yielding heart of the earth. The Derinkuyu underground city is a labyrinth of survival, a multi-level complex descending 18 stories into the volcanic rock, capable of sheltering up to 20,000 people for months at a time. Its construction was a feat of subtraction, not addition. The builders did not quarry stone to build with, they excavated it to create spaces within. The region's unique volcanic tuff was the perfect medium, a stone soft enough to be carved with simple metal picks and shovels, yet strong enough to hold its shape for millennia, creating a cool, temperature-stable environment ideal for long-term habitation. This was not a mere cluster of caves, it was a meticulously planned subterranean metropolis, complete with living quarters, stables for livestock, churches for worship, communal kitchens, and even sophisticated wine and oil presses. The true genius of Derinkuyu is revealed in its life support systems, engineered to ensure complete self-sufficiency during times of siege. Dozens of ventilation shafts, some stretching over 175 feet to the surface, provided a constant supply of fresh air to even the deepest levels, their openings cleverly camouflaged to avoid detection. Deep, carved wells tapped into the underground water table, securing a vital supply independent of surface sources. Security was woven into the very architecture of the city. The entire complex could be sealed from the inside by massive, circular stone doors. These millstones, weighing half a ton each, were rolled across critical passageways, effectively isolating entire sections and creating impenetrable choke points against any invaders who managed to find an entrance. Creating and maintaining such a complex required a level of communal planning that is almost beyond comprehension. Every aspect of life underground had to be anticipated and provided for, from waste management and food storage to the social and spiritual needs of a large population living in confined darkness. This was a communal project on a staggering scale, likely excavated over generations by the Phrygians and later expanded by early Christians. The coordination needed to manage construction, resource distribution, and daily life for thousands of people in a completely enclosed environment speaks to a society built on profound cooperation and a shared will to survive. Derinkuyu was not built for glory but for preservation, a secret stone ark designed to protect an entire civilization from the storms of history raging on the surface above. Overlooking the ancient Inca capital of Cusco, the fortress of Sacsayhuaman presents a wall of giants. These are not simple blocks, but a sprawling, zig-zagging rampart of colossal limestone boulders, some standing over 28 feet tall and weighing more than 100 tons. Their shapes are a chaotic puzzle, each stone a unique, irregular polygon with as many as 12 different sides, yet they lock together with a seamlessness that defies logic. You cannot slide a single piece of paper between them. The sheer scale and precision of these walls raises a single, compelling question. How did the Inca achieve such a perfect fit without iron tools or the wheel? The shaping of these behemoths was a testament to patience and a deep understanding of stone. Workers did not cut the stones in our modern sense. Instead, they used a technique known as hammer dressing. They would take hard, spherical stones of a much denser material like andesite and pound the surfaces of the limestone blocks for countless hours. This persistent pecking, chip by tiny chip, gradually wore the stone down to the desired shape. It was a process of reduction, not of carving, a monumental effort of abrasion that could have taken months for a single stone. But how did they test the fit? One fascinating theory suggests they used small-scale models made of clay. A master architect could have designed a section of the wall in miniature, and workers would then replicate that intricate, interlocking pattern at a colossal scale, constantly checking the fit of the real stones against the model. Moving these finished monoliths from quarries several miles away was the next Herculean task. The most likely method involved a symphony of human power. Thousands of laborers would have hauled the stones on massive rope cables, pulling them over a track of rolling logs. To navigate the final placement and set each multi-ton piece into its perfect position, they would have used a system of earthen ramps, wooden levers, and ropes, inching the stone upward and sideways until gravity and geometry locked it into its eternal embrace with its neighbors. This was not merely a military fortress. The zig-zagging walls, which some say represented the teeth of a puma, with Cusco forming the body, also served as a grand stage for elaborate ceremonies and festivals. It was a place of both earthly power and celestial connection, a symbol of the Incas' ability to tame the very mountains into a structure of both defense and divine expression, its silent, jagged walls guarding the secrets of a lost art of stone. The silent, carved riddles of the Sphinx have guarded the Giza Plateau for millennia. This colossal creature with the body of a lion and the head of a pharaoh is the world's largest monolith statue, an incredible 240 feet long and 66 feet high. It was not built from separate blocks, but revealed from a single outcrop of limestone, a testament to a vision that saw a divine guardian within the living rock. The traditional attribution points to the pharaoh Khafre, builder of the second pyramid at Giza, but the Sphinx's own story is far from settled. Its origins are shrouded in a debate that challenges our entire timeline of ancient Egypt. The process of its creation was one of immense subtraction. Workers first identified a prominent mound of limestone bedrock. Then, they began the monumental task of carving inward, using copper chisels and stone hammers to define the lion's body while simultaneously excavating a massive, deep ditch around the entire perimeter. This trench isolated the emerging statue and provided a clear, imposing space for worshippers to approach, all while exposing the lower layers of stone. This exposed body has not weathered the centuries well. It has undergone numerous restoration campaigns, with the first recorded repairs made by the pharaoh Thutmose IV over 3,000 years ago, and modern efforts continuing to this day to combat the relentless damage of wind, humidity, and rising groundwater. Yet it is the nature of this weathering that fuels the most intriguing theories. The body of the Sphinx shows deep, undulating, vertical fissures, patterns that are characteristic of water erosion, not wind and sand. This type of erosion suggests the statue was subjected to long periods of heavy, torrential rainfall. Such a climate last existed in Egypt thousands of years before the reign of Pharaoh Khafre, around 7,000 years ago or more. How could a statue built in the arid Old Kingdom show scars from a much wetter epoch? This single observation has led some researchers to propose that the Sphinx is far older than we think, a relic from a lost pre-pharaonic civilization whose name we do not know. Whether it is the work of Kafka or a forgotten people, the Great Sphinx remains an enigma, its stone skin bearing the marks of a forgotten climate, and its silent gaze holding secrets we are still striving to understand. This final wonder was not a tomb for a god-king, but a monument to a mortal ruler's immense ambition. The mausoleum at Halicarnassus was a tomb so magnificent its name became the word for all grand burial structures. Commissioned around 350 years before the Common Era by Artemisia II for her husband, the satrap Mausolus, it was a breathtaking fusion of global styles. Its base was a massive rectangular podium of gleaming white marble, reminiscent of Lycian tombs. Rising from this was a colonnade of 36 Ionic columns, a clear Greek influence, and crowning it all was a stepped pyramid, an unmistakable echo of Egyptian design. At the very summit stood a colossal marble chariot carrying statues of Mausolus and Artemisia, forever immortalized in a triumphant procession. This was not merely a building, it was a 3-story tall sculpture garden. Its 4 sides were adorned with a continuous frieze of breathtaking depth, depicting epic battles between Greeks and Amazons, and chariots racing in a perpetual stone parade. Nestled between the columns stood life-sized and larger-than-life statues of gods, goddesses, and legendary heroes, each one a masterpiece of dynamic expression carved from pristine marble. The construction itself was a layered marvel. The core was built from green volcanic stone and square bricks, providing a strong, stable heart. This was then sheathed entirely in Proconnesian marble, a brilliant white stone quarried from a distant island and shipped across the sea. The precision of the stonework was astounding, with blocks fitted together using metal clamps set in molten lead, creating a flexible yet unyielding bond. For nearly 16 centuries, this wonder stood, a gleaming white testament to a ruler's power and a wife's devotion. Its end came not from human hands, but from a series of devastating earthquakes that slowly shook the colossal structure to its foundations. The great columns toppled, the pyramid crumbled, and the stone chariot was dashed to the ground. For centuries, its broken beauty lay in a magnificent ruin until the Knights of St. John arrived in the 15th century. They systematically dismantled the remains, burning the exquisite marble statues in kilns to make lime for plaster, and using the sturdy blocks to build a massive castle fortress that still stands on the original site. The mausoleum's physical form was erased, its stones repurposed for war, yet its legend endures as a ghost in the architecture of memory. A lush green mountain seems to float above the sun-baked bricks of ancient Babylon. This was the legendary Hanging Gardens, a wonder said to be a terraced paradise of exotic trees, vibrant flowers, and flowing streams, all built to ease a queen's homesickness for the green hills of her homeland. Yet this breathtaking vision exists more in the words of ancient poets than in the soil of modern Iraq. No definitive archaeological trace of the gardens has ever been found at Babylon, leaving historians to wonder if they were a magnificent work of fiction, a tale exaggerated over centuries, or if they were built in a different city entirely, perhaps by the Assyrian king Sennacherib at Nineveh. The very ground they were built upon presents the first great puzzle. A garden of such scale and weight would have required a massive, waterproof stone foundation to prevent its irrigation water from seeping into the mud brick below, yet stone was a rare commodity in Mesopotamia. The entire structure would have been an artificial mountain of baked brick, asphalt, and lead sheeting, a colossal undertaking just to create a stable base for the soil. Then comes the water, the true heart of the mystery. How do you lift the enormous volumes of water needed to sustain a hillside of vegetation in a desert climate to the very top tier day after day? The Babylonians were master hydraulic engineers, and the solution may have been a chain pump. This device would have used a continuous loop of buckets mounted on a chain, turned by a treadmill powered by laborers walking in a circle. The buckets would dip into a lower reservoir, scoop up water, and carry it to a channel at a higher level from which the process could be repeated. Another possibility is the screw pump, a brilliant spiral within a cylinder that, when turned, lifts water upward with a simple, rotating motion. Either method would have required a constant, grueling human effort to keep the gardens alive. The resources needed for such a project are staggering to consider. Beyond the thousands of bricks and tons of stone, the gardens would have consumed water on an industrial scale. This was not just for the plants, but to compensate for the intense evaporation under the Mesopotamian sun. The entire endeavor would have been a breathtaking display of royal power, a statement that a king could command not just armies, but nature itself, transforming a dry river of air into a vertical oasis. The Hanging Gardens remain the most elusive of the ancient wonders, a ghost of emerald and azure that challenges us to separate engineering from poetry, and to wonder if the most beautiful structures are those we can only build in our mind. That same ambition to reach for the heavens was cast not in stone, but in light upon a small island. The lighthouse of Alexandria, or the Pharaohs, guided ships into the bustling Egyptian harbor for over 1,500 years. Its estimated height of over 330 feet made it one of the tallest structures ever built by human hands, a title it held for centuries. To construct such a slender tower on the island of Pharaohs, engineers had to first create a stable foundation in the water. They reportedly built a massive artificial base by lowering enormous stone blocks into the sea, forming a sturdy platform that could withstand the relentless waves. The tower itself rose in 3 distinct tiers: a square base, an octagonal middle section, and a cylindrical top, all built from light-colored limestone and perhaps even gleaming white marble to enhance its visibility. At its summit burned the beacon, the very heart of the lighthouse. During the day, a giant polished bronze mirror reflected the sun's rays, creating a brilliant glint visible for miles out to sea. As darkness fell, keepers would light a great furnace, its fire amplified by that same mirror to project a guiding light across the treacherous waters. This was not just a fire in a tower, it was an ancient optical system, a powerful beam that saved countless ships and their cargo from the rocky coastline. The logistical feat of building this marvel was immense. Workers had to transport thousands of tons of stone across a causeway to the island, then lift these massive blocks higher and higher using a system of ramps and primitive cranes. The structure was so resilient it survived for nearly 1,700 years, a testament to its brilliant engineering. Its end came not from the sea it tamed, but from the earth itself. A series of 3 powerful earthquakes between the 10th and 14th centuries gradually shook the great lighthouse to rubble. Its stones were eventually repurposed into a medieval fort that stands on the site today, the final remnants of a wonder that once cast its protective gaze across the ancient world. Our journey ends not with a pyramid or a temple, but with a foundation. In the Lebanese town of Baalbek, within the ruins of a Roman temple to Jupiter, lies a mystery that defies every assumption about ancient engineering. High in the base of a massive retaining wall, 3 colossal stones known as the trilithon rest side by side. Each one is a staggering 64 feet long, 14 feet high, and 12 feet deep. Their individual weight is estimated at 800 tons, a mass equivalent to 2 fully loaded jumbo jets. The precision of their placement is absolute, the seams between them perfect. Yet this feat is overshadowed by an even greater enigma lying abandoned in a nearby quarry. The stone of the pregnant woman is a true monster of rock, 69 feet long and weighing over 1,000 tons. It was cut and prepared but never moved, a permanent question mark carved in limestone. How could the Romans, even with their advanced cranes and concrete, possibly move such incomprehensible weights? The quarry sits a full half-mile from the temple site, To transport an 800-ton block, you would need a pulling force greater than the combined strength of 10,000 men. Wooden sleds would be pulverized under the pressure, and the very ground would turn to mud under its weight. The Romans had massive cranes like the treadwheel crane, but these were designed for stones of perhaps 50 tons, not 800. The act of lifting one of the trilithon stones over 20 feet into the air to set it perfectly in its wall seems an impossible maneuver. Some theories suggest they used an elaborate system of levers, counterweights, and multiple cranes working in concert, a ballet of coordinated machinery we have no record of. Others propose they built colossal earthen ramps, inching the stones upward on rollers with a river of human labor. But the sheer scale of such a ramp for a stone of that size would have been a construction project in itself. The purpose of this Herculean effort remains as mysterious as the method. Why invest such unimaginable resources in the very foundation, the part of the structure no one would ever see? It was a statement of raw, overwhelming power, an attempt to build not just for the gods but for eternity. The trilithon stands as our final, silent challenge, a reminder that for all our modern knowledge, the ancient world still holds secrets we have yet to unravel. These scattered wonders, from the pyramids to Baalbek, all whisper a single, unifying truth. The genius required to build them was not born of magic, but from a profound and shared understanding of the fundamental principles of our world. Different cultures, separated by oceans and millennia, independently discovered the same mechanical secrets. They all grasped the power of the inclined plane. Whether it was the straight ramps proposed for the Great Pyramid or the spiraling earthen causeways used to haul stones up to Machu Picchu and Ollantaytambo, the ramp was the ancient world's universal crane, turning the impossible slope of a mountainside into a manageable path. Then came the lever, a simple bar of wood that, with a pivot point and enough human force, could shift weights that defied direct lifting. Combined with rollers made from felled trees, these tools transformed monolithic stones into objects that could be inched forward across vast distances, from the Sarsens of Stonehenge to the Moai of Easter Island. While complex pulley systems would come later, the basic principle of using ropes to redirect and combine human effort was a universal constant, allowing thousands of hands to pull as one. Beyond these physical tools was an even more crucial ingredient, a silent language of numbers and angles. The builders of the Parthenon used subtle curves to trick the human eye into seeing perfection. The architects of Chichen Itza encoded their solar calendar into the very steps of El Castillo. The Nazca people, without ever leaving the ground, employed basic geometry to plot vast, perfect animal forms across the desert floor. This was not guesswork. It was a deep, intuitive knowledge of mathematics and astronomy, a way of aligning human ambition with the cosmos itself. They understood the predictable movements of the sun, moon, and stars, using them as a celestial blueprint to orient their temples, tombs, and entire cities. This shared intellectual foundation suggests a universal human capacity to observe, calculate, and apply abstract principles to the physical world, long before the formal establishment of modern science. None of this, however, would have been possible without the final, most critical component, the river of human labor. These were not projects built by solitary geniuses, but by entire societies marshalling their collective strength. The Great Pyramid required tens of thousands of skilled workers, rotated and cared for in a highly organized logistical operation. The Great Wall of China was built by 1 million conscripted souls, its length a testament to both imperial power and profound human cost. The Terracotta Army was the product of an assembly line of artisans working for decades. This level of organization speaks to a sophisticated social structure, an ability to coordinate food, shelter, and the efforts of thousands, even tens of thousands, of people toward a single, monumental goal. This was the ultimate engine of construction, a force of will that could move mountains, one basket of earth or 1 inch of stone at a time, and this leads to the last, most humbling realization. These structures were not perfected on the first attempt. They are the result of generations of trial and error, of accumulated knowledge passed down and refined. The development of Roman concrete with its magical pozzolana ash was a chemical breakthrough born from experimentation. The Inca technique of hammer dressing stone to achieve a seamless fit was a skill honed over centuries of practice. Each failure taught a lesson, each success built upon the last, creating a slow, steady crescendo of engineering knowledge. These ancient megastructures stand as permanent proof that human ingenuity is not a modern invention. It is a fundamental, timeless trait, a relentless drive to understand our world and reshape it, leaving behind stone poems that continue to speak across the ages. These silent stone giants, scattered across continents and centuries, all share a common breath of human genius. From the poised balance of the Parthenon's columns to the subterranean metropolis of Derinkuyu, our journey reveals a profound truth. These were not built by magic, but by the relentless application of human determination, a deep well of collective intelligence, and the extraordinary power of collaboration. Each block laid, each stone carved, was a testament to a shared vision that spanned generations. The true wonder is not just the scale, but the universal language of problem-solving spoken by cultures who never met. They all discovered the lever and the ramp, mastered geometry under the stars, and organized thousands of hands to pull in a single direction. This legacy of ingenuity is our shared human inheritance. And yet, for all we have uncovered, deep mysteries persist. We still do not know how the stones of Baalbek were lifted, what silent rituals filled the echoing chambers of the hypogeum, or why the great temple of Borobudur was abandoned to the jungle. These unanswered questions are not failures of archaeology, but invitations. They keep the past alive and dynamic, reminding us that history is not a closed book, but a conversation with the echoes of our own potential. These structures captivate us because they are mirrors, reflecting a capacity for greatness that lives within us all. We would love to hear which of these ancient marvels resonated most deeply with you. Was it the celestial precision of Chichen Itza, the heartbreaking human cost of the Great Wall, or the sheer, impossible weight of the trilithon stones? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this exploration into the limitless potential of the human spirit, subscribe for more journeys into history's greatest